Wahiga. 9. Daniel Wanyonyi Opilo. 10. Timothy Ayeko Olingo. 11. Marshall Mungare. 12. William Washira Mwaniki. 13. Isaac Wangengi Wainaina. 14. Samuel Nyachwaya Nyamao. 15. Nyamari. 16. Dorothy Kemunto Nyangori. 17. Matthew Eric Deya Okongo. 18. Orina Jepnei Nyakwama. 19. Joshua Boit. 20. Dhangeta Frederick Mukaria. 21. Dr. Mbi Kavindu. 22. Peter O. Nyananga. 23. Jinan Zioki Biuva. 24. Omari Dambi. 25. Samuel Mwangangi Zamalu. 26. Stanley Muindi Masai. 27. Kenneth Otiato Marende. 28. Miriti Joseph Mulindo. 29. George Gitangu Thiongo. 30. David Ikava Mwangangi. 31. Danson Gadhuthi. 32. Nambiswa Brian. 33. Katukoi K. Romanos. 34. Amos Otieno Ochuka. 35. Frederick Otieno Gaya. 36. Gadhi Irungu. 37. Joseph Mijire Gaku. Honorable members, by the close of the nomination period on Wednesday, 7th September 2022 at 8:30 p.m., the following 19 persons had returned to the clerk their respective nomination papers for election as Speaker of the National Assembly. 1. Dr. Noah Winja. 2. Moses Masika Wetangula. 3. Gideon Kiplangat Cheruyot. 4. Timothy Ayeko Olingo. 5. Marshall Mungare. 6. William Washira Mwaniki. 7. Isaac Wangengi Wainaina. 8. Kevin Mabeta Nyamira. 9. Dorothy Kemunto Nyangori. 10. Matthew Eric Deya Okongo. 11. Joshua Kipkemoi Boit. 12. Dhangeta Frederick Mukaria. 13. Dr. Mbi Augustine Kavindu. 14. Jinan Zioki Mbiuva. 15. Samuel Mwangangi Zamalu. 16. Kenneth Otiato Marende. 17. Josh Gitangu Thiongo. 19. David Ikava Mwangangi. 19. Danson Gadhuthi Karaya. Honorable members, I wish to also notify the House that I also received a letter from one Mr. Omar Dambi, dated 7th September 2022, withdrawing his candidature for election as the Speaker of the National Assembly. Additionally, honorable members, I wish to report that Mr. Isaac Aluoch Polo Aluochir, one of the persons who collected nomination papers, did not return the completed form. However, he did appear before the clerk and verbally withdrew his candidature. Further, honorable members, the following 15 persons who returned their nomination papers did not qualify as candidates for election as Speaker of the National Assembly, as their nomination papers were not accompanied by names and signatures of 20 members in support of their respective candidatures as required by Standing Order 5-3. 1. Dr. Noah Winja. 2. Gideon Kiplanga Cheruyot. 3. Timothy Ayako Olingo. 4. Marshall Mongare. 5. William Washira Mwaniki. 6. Isaac Wangengi Wainaina. 7. Kevin Mabeta Nyamari. 8. Dorothy Kemunto Nyangori. 9. Joshua Kipkemoi Boit. 10. Dr. Mbi Augustine Kavindu. 11. Jinan Zioki Biuva. 12. Samuel Mwangangi Nzamalu. 13. George Gitangu Thiongo. 14. David Ikavi Mwangangi. And 15. Danson Gathudi Karaya. Honorable members, you will recall that at the close of the nomination period yesterday evening, I did notify honorable members of the 2 candidates qualified to participate in the election of the Speaker of the National Assembly. In my notification, I stated that my office was in the process of verifying the documentation submitted in support of 2 other applicants, namely Mr. Thiangeta Frederick Mukaria and Mr. Okongo Matthew Eric Dare. Honorable members, I wish to inform the House that verification of the documents submitted by the 2 applicants against the copies of identification documents are available to my office by the various members purported to have supported the candidature for today's election reviewed glaring anomalies. With regard to the nomination papers returned by Mr. Thiangeta Frederick Mukaria, it was noted that the Kenya National Identification numbers purported to appended to the names of several honorable members are at variance with the information officially available by honorable members to Parliament as part of their biodata. Similarly, honorable members, it was noted that the nomination papers returned by Mr. Okongo Matthew Eric Dare appended signatures purported to belong to several members that did not tally with the signatures recognized by my office from the biodata forms signed by the affected members. Indeed, I have today since received written complaints from a number of the affected members regarding falsification of their support to the 2 candidates. In particular, honorable members have disowned their purported endorsement of the said candidates. As at the time of this communication, I have on record formal protests from the following members: the Honorable Kimani Ichung'wa, the Honorable Beatrice Adagala, the Honorable Mohammed Ali Mohammed, the Honorable Mary Wamaua, the Honorable John Mutunga, the Honorable Githua Wamushukuru, the Honorable Samuel Moroto, the Honorable Dr. Robert Pukose, the Honorable Jen Kihara, the Honorable Julius Meli, the Honorable Wajiku Muhia, the Honorable Charity Kadhambi, the Honorable Paul Mwirigi, and the Honorable David Ikaria. Honorable members, in light of the above cited anomalies and the formal protests received from members, I have disqualified the 2 persons from contesting in the election for the Speaker scheduled for today, 8th September 2022. Cognizant of the fact that the willful submission of documents containing misleading, falsified, or fraudulent information for use in proceedings of a very crucial nature by this House may constitute a criminal offense, I have formally requested the Directorate of Criminal Investigations to investigate the circumstances under which the documents were submitted, and take appropriate steps thereafter. Honorable members, pursuant to the provisions of Article 106 of the Constitution and Standing Order number 5 of the National Assembly Standing Orders, out of the 19 persons who completed and returned their nomination papers, the following 2 persons qualified as candidates for elections as Speaker of the National Assembly. 1. Kenneth Otiato Marende. 2. Moses Masika Wetangula. Honorable members, Standing Order 6 provides as follows regarding the voting procedure where more than one candidate qualifies to stand for election as a Speaker. 1. The election of the Speaker shall be by secret ballot. 2. The clerk shall at the commencement of each ballot cause the ballot box, empty and unlocked, to be displayed to the House, and shall, in the presence of the House, lock the box, which shall thereafter be kept in the full view of the House until the conclusion of the ballot. Honorable members, we shall shortly proceed to issue ballot papers to you, which will be issued by officers to each member in the manner I will guide. And so, when your name is called, you will receive 1 ballot paper at the table and proceed to the voting booth. Mark your ballot paper and proceed to cast your vote. For clarity, honorable members, a member who wishes to vote shall mark his or her ballot paper by placing a visible mark in the box provided for beside the name of the preferred candidate as a member wishes to vote for. Thereafter, the member should fold the marked ballot paper before leaving the booth and deposit the folded ballot paper in the ballot box. A member who in the process of voting has marked his or her paper in error may, by returning it to the clerk, obtain another ballot paper in its place. The initial ballot paper marked in error shall be marked cancelled and destroyed by the clerk. Honorable members, when it appears to the clerk that all members who are present in the House and who wish to vote have voted and deposited their ballot papers in the ballot box, the clerk shall unlock the box, examine the ballot papers, and having rejected those unmarked or spoiled, report to the House the result of the ballot. May I also notify you, honorable members, that after the clerk has unlocked the ballot box, a member who has not already recorded his or her vote shall not be entitled to do so. The verification and counting of ballots shall take place in the presence of members appointed as agents or representatives by the candidates. For clarity, each candidate is allowed a maximum of 1 agent or representative for the purpose of the ballot. Honorable members, in line with the requirements of Standing Order 7.1, a person shall not be elected as Speaker unless supported by votes of 2/3 of all honorable members. The House is reminded that this 2/3 threshold is not a constitutional requirement, but a procedural step to ease the election of a Speaker on the first round of the ballot. The procedural threshold applies only to the first round of voting and does not affect the quorum required for the commencement and continuation of the sitting and the election. Honorable members, Pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order 7.2, in the event that no candidate is supported by the votes of 2/3 of all members at the first round of voting, the candidate who receives the highest number of votes and the candidate who receives the next highest number of votes shall alone stand for election in the next round. The candidate who receives the highest number of votes in the second round shall stand elected Speaker. Honorable members, we have arranged the voting booths next to the dispatch table. There are 2 booths on each side of the table. Members on my right hand side will cast their ballots in the voting booths placed on the side of their side at the table, and vice versa for the members on my left. Honorable members, before the House proceeds to vote, I wish to remind the House that this particular voting is by secret ballot. Members are not allowed to display their marked ballots to the House or to the galleries. Members from the media are also reminded to observe Rule 3 of the broadcasting rules in the first schedule to the standing orders. And for the avoidance of doubt, the said rule provides as follows, and I quote, "Wide-angle shots of the chamber shall be used during voting and division, and no shot shall be taken so as to show the manner in which a member has voted in any secret ballot." Having explained the voting procedure, I now wish to direct the Chief Sanjara Terms to open the ballot box and display it to the honorable members.